How long do I have to speak?
As long as you want.
Wow,
You're
good.
the executive.
Oh, these days, I'm looking for friends. So any place that invites me, y'all sit. You're comfortable. Everybody comfortable? Good. You ate. So I'm not standing between meal. Great. Okay, you're a captive audience. First of all, thank you, Craig, for that great introduction. We give him a round of applause. You're doing a great job. I am so pleased to be at one of my favorite events since being county executive, the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce. As many of you know who've been a part of this, certainly Lynn and Brenda know this. Your organization carries a special place in my heart. At the very beginning of my administration, this is the place, and David's shaking his head, this is the organization where I would bring my wife when I came to speak. You may not, if you remember, when I came a few times, she came with me. And it was just a great beginning of my administration. I was very nervous, so she would sit up in the front, and I could just look at her when I got really nervous. And at that time, I had a lot to be nervous about. It wasn't like I came in under the greatest of circumstances. It's typical me. There's never any drama. But it was so great having her to come with me, and you were so welcoming that I will never forget that, and it was a great thing that our family remembers. So give yourselves a round of applause. Certainly, the Bowie Chamber of Commerce is one of our best chambers of commerce, and you do a fantastic job. You have a great mayor, Mayor Fred Robinson. We can give him a round of applause. Yeah, I said this at the very beginning of the administration. We looked at what you were doing here, not only in terms of the membership in the chamber and the diversity of the membership in the chamber, but the way that you were going after, making businesses feel a part of the community and a part of the chamber. Your incubator, your business incubator, was something we looked at the county level. The way you did economic development, we looked at the county level. And you had just some really fantastic people who I thought could help this administration move forward. So, not the least of which, when we were thinking about what would be a great way to attract businesses to the county, but also make them feel like we were investing also, that we had skin in the game. Because at the time when we came in, businesses were a little skeptical as whether they want to do business in Prince George's County. And so I've said this at other meetings, at other chamber events. At the very beginning when we mentioned this, I think he was a little nervous because if it didn't go right, he may have been fearful that he had to move out of the city of Bowie and maybe to another job. But he got it right. And that was our Assistant DCO for Economic Development Infrastructure, David Iannucci, who's doing a great job in the mastermind behind our EDI fund, which helps us bring businesses here. I think we've put in how much, David? 20 million. We've leveraged that for how much? 588 million. Because the idea around the EDI fund that David and others brought to us was, what would happen if we took $50 million at a time when people were nervous about the economy? We took $50 million and we said to the business community, we believe in Prince George's County so much that while we're tightening our belts everywhere else, we're going to take $50 million, we're going to invest in businesses that stay here and grow, and businesses that come here. Because we believe this is the place to be. This is the hot thing. This is the inside tip. That's what we believed at the very beginning of the administration. At that point, people used to politely clap, snicker, and they said, and then I said this before, they were like, oh, he's so cute. That poor guy. He believes all that. We want him to believe it because we feel really sorry for him and his county. But we did those things, and 4 years later, almost 5 years, we're going to have somewhere around $5 to $6 billion worth of development that will take place in Prince George's County over these next 5 years. not the least of which is a $650 million regional medical center in Largo, which is not just about healthcare. It will redo all of what Largo looks like. There was a group of us that were over at Rockville. We were meeting with the Maryland Association of Counties, MACO's board, and the county executive, Ike Leggett, wanted to show the rest of us on the board what has happened with downtown Rockville, and all of the things there, the shops, the movie theaters, all of the life in this place that was once a pass-through. And he was showing it off. And as I walked around with others, members of the board, I couldn't help thinking that that's what Largo is going to look like. Once you put that facility there, next to the metro, 2 metros in fact, and once you bring government buildings in there and foot traffic, everything around there will change. That's something that is not us just talking about it. It's going to happen. It's already in place. So in 4 years, you will see downtown Largo look like what you would see at Silver Spring or Bethesda or Rockville, right here in Prince George's County. People will building new hotels here. That's going to happen. MGM at National Harbor. That's not us just wondering whether we're going to have a $1 billion development. We're going to have a $1.2 billion development down there at National Harbor alongside of a Tanger Outlet Mall, which means people from around the world will start coming, not just to that part of Prince George's County, but they'll be up here for a Bay Sox game. They'll see Bowie, and what we hope is many of those executives that come here and look for places to stay will say, I want to kind of get away from the casino down there. Where are they gonna come to? Right here. Isn't this like the most popular place? At least it is for my administration. The city of Bowie is where they all want to live, and they all do live. But it's going to happen. We talk about crime. When we came in, there were some bumpy starts. But even this year, when we've seen a slight spike, overall crime, violent crime in Prince George's County is still down 20% over last year's numbers. 20% over last year's numbers. So crime in this county is going down. We instituted under the administration, and thanks to many of you in this room, and thanks to the chamber and business partners, we instituted what I think is our signature best program, our Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative. That is where we identified 6 areas throughout the county that had challenges, and that if we could turn those areas around, much like what you're doing in Bowie, in College Park, and in Laurel, if we could take those areas mostly inside the Beltway and change those to economic engines, this whole county would rise up. But in order to do that, you need to be able to focus resources and revenues on those areas and change the quality of life. Well, that is starting to happen. We're starting to see it connect. David Iannucci's T&I area, which he heads, is Bladensburg, East Riverdale. In his area, we saw the greatest reduction in crime, and I think in terms of economic development, it has the greatest potential. So he deserves a round of applause. But we could go to, Tom Himmler's area, which is Marlow Heights, Hillcrest Heights, a Bowieite. Whose area down there right along the border with the District of Columbia, where we've seen not only changes, but we've seen so much change over the last couple of years in terms of crime, health disparity, that now Iverson Mall, which for years has been an eyesore around that community, we just met with developers who bought that, who are now going to invest a significant amount of money because what they see is the things are changing in Prince George's County. So this mall, which before people were like, okay, it used to have a great history, but it doesn't anymore. But now they see it coming back. And what is going to happen with Iverson Mall is going to help us with our redevelopment of the Suitland, which is the next hot place, in this county. where people are going to start looking at this right across the District of Columbia. They're going to say, oh, wow, that's the place to be. Nice houses right next to a metro, federal government employees. That is rolling. FBI. If you'd have told us 4 years ago we even had a shot at the FBI, people would have told you you're crazy. Now, there are 3 sites that have the potential of getting the FBI, which is a $2 billion development. 2 of those sites are in Prince George's County. One of my favorite stories is, Harris Teeter's. No offense I love Safeway. I love Safeway. I shop at Safeway. But Harris Teeter's, and my staff knows this. When I first went to Las Vegas to the Shoppers Conference, it was my first one. They were like, this is really important. This is where we go make our pitch to the county, to these shoppers and everybody else to come to the county. This is where, bankers and everyone else says it's very important how you do it. So when you get there, you're going to have a lot of meetings. I was like, I'm prepared. I wore my best suit, my sharpest shoes. And I was like, I'm ready. You bring them in. They said, no. You grab your stuff. We're going to be walking from table to table, trying to drum up some business for people to talk to you because we don't have anybody on your schedule. We're going to go knock on their door. Excuse me. Hi, I'm the little guy from Prince George's County. Can I talk to you about our county? So Dave and I went around, didn't we? We had our you had to put sneakers on. I was like, man, I should have worn my track shoes. This year, our dance card was full. In fact, we had a nice little booth there. People came in. We had coffee and donuts and stuff. But my favorite story is, I had a meeting with Harris Teeter, and they told me 950 different reasons why they weren't coming to Prince George's County. And they would never come to Prince George's County because the demographics weren't what they wanted. There was not a market here. Basically, our taste wasn't what they thought. And, me being me, I was like, what, y'all can. Then I was invited to, a new development that the Bermans are doing, they're working with the city, that Harris Teeter is going to develop one of our older malls. Safeway is going to, we talked about having great, upgraded Safeways in the county. And you remember the conversation we had back in the day was, everybody was heading to the district. Well, guess what? Not only is Harris Teeter coming up here to Bowie, but Safeway is doing something that we wanted for a long time, and that is they're going to anchor the development, the outside of it, in the University Town Center, which is helping us keep federal employees here. So great things are coming. We're keeping companies like Bozzuto here, Thompson Creek, who are about to leave. They had 1 foot out the door, and we kept them here because of our EDI fund. So we're making great strides. We're making strides in economic development. We're making strides in public safety. We're making strides in health disparity. We're starting to see those numbers drop. And people, I know you see it in your businesses. We talked about one of the banks that's, I think it's Essex Bank, is a Richmond bank that's coming here. So banks are coming here, investors are coming here. The only thing that we're missing, the only stool of that leg that is not complete is our education system. I know your work here with the Bowie Chamber and how much you connect with the schools and how much you partner. I know it because my youngest daughter, went to Heather Hills. In fact, I went to a Bay Sox game because you guys provided some tickets for her because, they made the honor roll. So I know how much work you're doing here, and it's great. But if Prince George's County is really to be what it's called to be, we have to have great schools throughout this county. Why? Because businesses look at that. They look at the long-term investment of it. And so you might have heard that, I had a little bit of an issue with a budget that I still quite don't have, and there was a little debate about, how much and whether it should be 15 or 4 cents or nothing. But what should have been out front is, if we are going to move this county forward, if places like Bowie and the broader community are going to make the improvements and make it really attractive for people to stay here for the long term. You can't continue to have high schools like Bowie High Schools overcrowded. You know, you can't continue to have Bowie High School, the annex, not be repaired. You can't lose great teachers. You can't have it be the only place where people want to go. You have to do something about the quality of education at Duval, High Point, Parkdale, Bladensburg, Suitland, because all of those schools make up the great fabric of a community. You can't keep good superintendents like Dr. Maxwell, whose family taught at Bowie High School. He lives in Bowie, he stayed here, if you're not willing to invest in what makes a great community. So the conversation that we should have at a business forum is about what is going to make the county great. What is going to fill up this room with other businesses coming here to the chamber? Certainly economic development and opportunities, but economic development and opportunities only happen when people think something great is about to go on there. And usually that's connected with the reputation of a county. Unlike cities, we don't have the luxury of not having great public schools. A county's reputation is based on its public school system. Bowie has a great reputation, not because you just have great places to live, which you do, but if you have young children like my wife and I had, like we said, our youngest, you have great elementary schools here. So great that we tried to figure out a way from Chevrolet to get her sister along with her in the TAG program. But you want great middle schools also, and you do have good middle schools. Tasker is a great school. The problem with Tasker is everybody wants to get into Tasker. Why? Because it's a great place. The way that we make sure that Bowie High School is not overcrowded is to give ourselves option. That is the conversation that we have to have over these next 3 years, and a conversation I will as county executive. So when I talk about budget priorities, when I talk about economic development, and you ask me a question about, you know, what's Prince George's County doing, how are you going to grow, and how are you going to expand your commercial tax base, and I respond back by building great schools, it's because in order to attract businesses, in order to keep people here, you have to build great schools. And in order to do that, you can't think small. You can't be worried about today. You have to be focused on tomorrow. And that's what I plan to do as county executive. And I thank you for letting me come by. Thank you.